Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take incredible sources, stacks of them sometimes, and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight for you.
That's the mission.
And today, we're really diving deep. It's a journey into some ancient wisdom that, well, it still resonates powerfully today, even with modern science.
It really does.
We've got this fascinating compilation. It's titled The 7 Hermetic Laws Explained in Details from the Hidden Library over on YouTube. So our task here is to unlock these 7 Hermetic principles. They come from the Emerald Tablets, right? Attributed to Hermes Trismegistus.
That's the tradition, yes. And these aren't just, old sayings. They're described as the actual framework the universe was built on.
Wow, the framework itself.
Yeah. Understanding them is like understanding how everything works, and even more, mastering them. That's about becoming the master of your own reality.
Okay, so think of these like keys, 7 keys, but together they form a kind of master key.
Exactly, a master key to open all the doors to the Temple of Mysteries, as the source puts it.
All right, well, if you're ready to unlock some Hermetic wisdom with us, let's prepare to dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, first pillar, the principle of mentalism. It states, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Sounds simple, maybe deceptively so. What's it really mean for the universe to be, well, mental?
It's profound. The Kabbalion, probably the most famous book on this, really digs into it. It suggests reality isn't primarily physical, solid matter like we usually think.
Yeah.
Instead, it's more like a mental projection, a creation of a universal mind. It's similar, actually, to the Hindu idea of Vishnu's dream, the whole universe as this unfolding thought or dream in the cosmic consciousness.
And we're part of that dream.
We're described as sparks of the mind of the all, little pieces of that universal consciousness experiencing itself.
Now, what's really wild is how this ancient idea seems to, it pops up in modern science, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's fascinating. Take Max Planck, the father of quantum physics. He famously said, I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Consciousness first, matter second.
Exactly. A direct echo of mentalism.
Which brings us to that famous experiment, the double slit experiment. Can you remind us what that showed about observation?
Sure. The double slit is a cornerstone of quantum mechanics. Basically, you fire particles, like electrons, at a barrier with 2 slits.
Okay.
When nobody's watching or measuring, the electron acts like a wave. It seems to go through both slits at the same time.
Both? How?
That's the quantum weirdness. But the moment you put a detector there to see which slit it goes through, the moment you observe it, boom, it behaves like a particle. It picks one slit.
So just looking at it changes what it does.
Precisely. At that quantum level, the act of observing, of consciousness focusing, influences reality. It helps determine the state of things.
Okay, that's mind-bending. If observing changes things at that fundamental level, what does that imply about our reality, the one we experience daily?
It suggests our reality is much more, let's say, malleable, more subjective than we assume. The mind, in this view, is like a vast ocean. Every thought, every observation is like throwing a stone in.
Creating ripples.
Ripples that turn potential possibilities into actual manifested reality. So this first law, mentalism, it reveals our mind isn't just passively receiving reality, it's a key to creating it.
But there's a catch, right? What happens if this incredibly powerful creative mind gets scattered? Dispersed.
Yes, and that's so relevant today. We live in an age where human attention is, frankly, the hot commodity.
The attention economy.
Exactly. All the distractions, social media notifications, ads, they act like silent thieves of our mental energy, our focus. This fragments our attention.
And that weakens our creative power.
It does. It turns us into reactors, just responding to stimuli instead of being the authors of our experience. There are even studies suggesting our attention span is shrinking, maybe even comparable to a beta fish.
Wow, that's quite an image. Okay, so faced with this constant distraction, how do we reclaim that focus, that creative essence, using these Hermetic ideas?
The core practice is meditation. But from a Hermetic view, it's not just about relaxation. It's about actively shaping the mental realm.
Shaping it.
Yes. Hermetic teachings view attention as a tool, like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight into a powerful beam. Meditation is like returning to 0 point, a state of inner stillness and balance.
Okay.
From that point, the mind becomes a precise instrument for conscious creation. It's like a workout for your mental focus, and it gives you access to the subconscious.
Right, the subconscious, often called that vast ocean. How does that fit in? It shapes our reality without us always realizing it.
Exactly. It's like the deep sea currents influencing the surface waves. The subconscious records everything, every experience, emotion, image. It forms these invisible molds that dictate our worldview or automatic responses.
And limiting beliefs get stuck there.
Precisely. Those beliefs can sabotage our conscious goals, running like hidden programs. Meditation, by getting you into deep relaxation, helps dissolve those blocks. It lets you access that deeper programming.
So it's not just about clearing the mind, but actively reprogramming it.
Absolutely. You can intentionally plant new seeds in the subconscious. Practices like focused visualization, repeating positive affirmations, and crucially, cultivating elevated emotions.
Emotions are key.
They're described as the fuel of the subconscious mind. They intensify the impressions you make. So imagine feeling the confidence you desire as if it's already real. The subconscious starts to accept that feeling as the new reality, the new blueprint.
That's powerful. It really positions us as co-creators then. Our mind truly is a temple, and what we build inside reflects outside.
That's the essence of mentalism.
Okay, let's move to the next principle. This one's maybe the most famous. As above, so below. As within, so without. From the Emerald Tablet, it suggests the small mirrors the large, the inner mirrors the outer. How does that work?
It means reality has this fractal structure, like a hologram, where every tiny piece contains the whole picture.
Fractal, like those patterns in nature.
Exactly. Think about your body's cells. Each one has the DNA, the complete blueprint for your entire body. It's a microcosm of you. Or look at galaxies. Their spiral patterns often mirror the way electrons orbit an atom's nucleus.
So universal laws apply everywhere, big or small.
That's the idea. The same fundamental principles operate on cosmic scales and subatomic scales. It's all interconnected.
So the universe is like a giant mirror, reflecting itself at different levels.
Precisely. And if you want to understand the universe, the Hermetic path says, start by understanding yourself. Your inner state deeply influences how you perceive and experience the world around you.
Like that quote, the kingdom of God is within you.
Exactly. Your mind, as a microcosm, holds the seed of the divine, the potential of the all. Expanding your self-awareness aligns you with the greater universe.
So self-knowledge isn't just personal therapy, it's actually cosmic exploration.
It really is. Plotinus, the philosopher, he said something like, the more a man knows himself, the more he knows the universe. Our inner world, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, acts like a lens.
Shaping what we see.
Totally. If you're feeling peaceful inside, you're more likely to notice peace outside. If you're internally conflicted, the world can seem hostile. The outer reflects the inner.
Does this connect with Carl Jung's ideas too, the unconscious?
Yes, very much so. Jung talked about the personal unconscious reflecting the collective unconscious, that shared reservoir of human archetypes, myths, symbols. Exploring your inner world connects you to those universal truths.
Okay, and how does this, as above, so below, apply to spirit and matter? They seem like total opposites.
Well, according to this principle, they're just different expressions, different poles of the same underlying reality. The material world is seen as a reflection, a manifestation of forces and ideas from the spiritual or mental plane.
Can you give an example?
Think about DNA again. It's an invisible structure, pure information, you could call that, the spirit aspect. And it manifests as a complex physical body matter.
Ah, okay. Information manifesting physically.
Right. So by aligning your intentions, your beliefs, your inner spirit with these universal laws, you can actually influence the matter in your life. Prosperity, for instance, isn't just about external actions. It starts within, with beliefs about worthiness, abundance, gratitude.
So true alchemy isn't about turning lead into gold literally, but about integrating spirit into material life.
Exactly. It's about seeing that the duality is an illusion. Spirit manifests through matter. The journey isn't escaping the physical, but transcending our limited view of it, seeing the sacred within the mundane.
Where else in nature do we really see this principle clearly? You mentioned fractals.
Oh, everywhere. Fractals are a perfect example. Think of a fern leaf or a coastline or snowflakes. The same basic pattern repeats at smaller and smaller scales.
The Fibonacci sequence too, right? In flowers and shells and galaxies.
Precisely. The golden ratio. It's in the arrangement of petals, the spiral of a nautilus shell, the arms of a galaxy. Nature cycles too: birth, growth, decay, renewal. They happen everywhere, from forests to stars.
Even our bodies mirror larger systems.
Absolutely. Your circulatory system, with its branching network of arteries and veins, looks remarkably like a river delta system on Earth. And the old analogy of atoms being like mini solar systems, while not perfectly accurate scientifically now, it captures that symbolic correspondence.
It really paints a picture of an ordered, interconnected, almost holographic universe. Okay, so how do we bring this down to Earth? How does as within, so without play out in our daily results, our health, our relationships?
Our external world acts like a direct mirror. Your health, your appearance, the results you get, your relationships, they tend to reflect your inner state, your beliefs, your intentions, and maybe most importantly, your daily habits.
Habits are key.
Hugely key. Every small action, repeated consistently, builds your reality. A disciplined mind often leads to a healthier body and more organized life. A chaotic inner world might reflect as clutter or poor health. Aristotle nailed it. We are what we repeatedly do.
Small steps, big changes.
Exactly. Those tiny, consistent actions build momentum. The outer reality reflects the cumulative effect of those inner choices and habits.
So the takeaway is, if you want to change your external circumstances, start within. Change the mindset, the beliefs, the habits.
That's the core message. Cultivate inner discipline, self-care, self-love. Your habits will naturally start reflecting that inner shift. And then your external environment, your results, they have to adjust accordingly. Clarity within creates effective action without. You are the sculptor.
Okay, principle number 3, vibration. Nothing is at rest, nothing is static, everything vibrates. This feels incredibly modern, but it's ancient wisdom. How revolutionary was this idea back then?
Oh, profoundly. It suggested that movement is the absolute essence of everything. That solidity, as we perceive it, is an illusion. Everything is just energy in constant motion.
Wow.
And you see echoes of this everywhere, don't you? The Hindu concept of Om, the primordial vibration. Heraclitus in ancient Greece saying everything flows. In Hermeticism, vibration is the bridge. It connects the visible world to the invisible planes.
And science has, well, completely validated this, hasn't it?
It really has. Quantum physics is all about this. What looks solid is just a frantic dance of subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons vibrating nonstop.
Right. Nothing's really still.
Not at all. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle even suggests that particles kind of flicker in and out of existence, existing as waves of possibility until observed. And Einstein's EMC.
Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared.
Right. It shows matter and energy are just two forms of the same thing. You can convert one into the other. It's all fundamentally energy vibrating at different frequencies.
So, going back to observation, does observing influence reality by affecting its vibration?
That's a key link. It connects vibration back to mentalism. Consciousness interacting with these vibrational possibilities. Physicists like Niels Bohr, even Planck, talked about the universe being holographic, where matter, energy, consciousness are all interwoven. Planck flat out said everything is vibration.
Okay, so if physical stuff vibrates, what about thoughts, emotions? Are they vibrations too?
They absolutely are. Neuroscientists can measure brainwaves, right? Beta, alpha, theta, delta. Different frequencies correspond to different mental states: alert, relaxed, meditating, sleeping.
So our thoughts have frequencies.
And emotions, too. They generate measurable electromagnetic fields. The Heart Math Institute has done amazing work showing the heart emits a powerful field that changes its frequency based on our emotional state.
And that field affects our body.
Yeah.
And maybe even our environment.
Yes, both. Your emotional state literally changes your body's chemistry and energy field, and it radiates outwards.
Which means positive thoughts, love, gratitude. They have a different, maybe higher frequency than fear or anger.
Exactly. Think of Dr. David Hawkins and his scale of consciousness. He actually mapped emotions to vibrational frequencies. Peace, love, joy vibrate very high. Guilt, shame, fear vibrate very low.
And he said love has the power to transform.
Immense power. Because it resonates at such a high frequency, our emotions are basically our vibrational signature that we're broadcasting out to the universe.
This sounds an awful lot like the law of attraction. Is there a connection?
Oh, definitely. You could argue the law of attraction is a direct application or maybe a consequence of the law of vibration, like attracts like vibrationally.
So by cultivating higher frequency emotions, love, gratitude, compassion, you change your own vibration.
And you start resonating with, attracting a reality that matches that higher frequency. That's Hermetic self-mastery, consciously tuning your own vibration.
How does raising our vibration help with intuition, that inner knowing?
Well, when you're in those higher vibrational states, especially during meditation, your brain often produces theta waves. These are linked to deep relaxation, creativity, and those flashes of insight, those intuitive hits.
Like tuning your radio.
Exactly. You're aligning yourself with finer frequencies, making yourself a clearer receiver for subtle information from the universe or your higher self. Quieting the mental chatter makes space for intuition to speak.
And is love really the highest frequency?
Unconditional love is widely considered the peak. When you vibrate with love, everything harmonizes your cells, your thoughts, your energy field. It connects you to that sense of oneness, what mystics call samadhi.
Hawkins emphasized its power.
He did. He said love has the power to dissolve fear, to heal. Simple practices like cultivating compassion, offering forgiveness, these are incredibly fast ways to release dense, heady energy and raise your vibration.
And this isn't just personal, is it? Our individual vibration affects the collective.
That's a really important aspect. Rupert Sheldrake's idea of morphic fields touches on this, the idea that there are these invisible organizing fields connecting groups, species, even ideas.
So our individual state ripples out.
It suggests that, yes, when you cultivate peace or compassion within yourself, you're adding that frequency to the collective field. Like Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. Your vibration matters.
Okay, so practically speaking, how do we apply this? How do we consciously work with vibration day to day?
It's about consistent, mindful choices. Things like being aware of your words and thoughts, choosing positive language, cultivating a constructive mindset,
Okay.
regular meditation to harmonize your inner state. Spending time in nature, nature has very pure, balanced vibrations. And even your diet whole, natural foods generally carry a higher frequency than processed stuff. Physical health matters.
So it's about consciously cultivating higher thoughts, pure emotions connecting inwards, and letting that harmonious vibration shape our reality.
Beautifully put. That's the essence of working with the law of vibration.
All right, next up is polarity. The fourth law. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. What does this tell us about the cosmic dance?
It reveals the structure behind the vibration. Everything exists on a spectrum between two opposing poles. Hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate, spirit and matter.
But they aren't really separate things.
Exactly. They aren't enemies fighting each other. They're two ends of the same stick. Hot and cold are just different degrees of temperature. Light and darkness, different degrees of light. Love and hate, maybe different degrees of the same underlying energy, expressed differently.
So they define each other. You only know happiness because you've known sadness.
Precisely. Opposites depend on each other for meaning. They create contrast, tension, movement. The universe is this constant interplay between these poles.
So the goal isn't to pick a side and stick to it. Like, only ever be happy.
No, the wisdom here is about navigating the spectrum, finding balance within the flow. This law is everywhere. Cooking involves balancing heat and cold. Even politics, conservatism, and progressivism seem opposed, but arguably society needs both that stabilizing force and that drive for change to progress healthily.
How does this show up in our emotions? You mentioned love and hate.
Love tends to be expansive, opening. Fear is contractive, closing. They feel like fundamental poles. The alchemical journey is often seen as transmuting fear into love.
And other emotions fit on spectrums, too.
Yes, think about passion and hatred. Both are intense, high-energy states, right? But one creates, the other destroys. They're different expressions, different polarities of intense emotional energy. Recognizing that emotions swing like a pendulum between these poles is the first step to managing them.
It's also there in big concepts like life and death, and even simple choices.
Absolutely. Life gains its preciousness partly because death exists. A tree drops its leaves, death release, to nourish the soil for new growth, life rebirth. Every choice you make involves polarity. Choosing one thing means not choosing its opposite. Waking early means giving up sleep. There's always a trade-off, a balance.
Does this principle show up even at the level of atoms?
Perfectly. Atoms exist because of polarity. You have the positively charged proton at the center, providing stability, and the negatively charged electron in dynamic motion around it. That electrical polarity, that attraction and repulsion, holds matter together.
Without it, no atoms, no stuff.
Exactly.
And technology relies on this too, electromagnetic waves.
Absolutely. Light, radio waves, Wi-Fi, they're all electromagnetic waves. They consist of an oscillating electric field, positive and negative, and a magnetic field, north-south. This constant interplay of poles is what propagates the wave, carrying energy and information. Our entire digital world runs on this principle.
Okay, so how do polarity and vibration work together? If vibration is the movement, polarity defines the track it moves on.
That's a great way to put it. Polarity sets the spectrum. The extremes, hot, cold. Scarcity, abundance, fear, love. Vibration is the energy moving along that spectrum.
So if you want to change your state, you change your vibration along that polarity spectrum.
Precisely. To get warmer, you increase the vibration, molecular motion, along the temperature spectrum. To move from scarcity to abundance thinking, you consciously shift your vibration through gratitude, visualization, feeling abundant towards the abundance pole.
So challenges arise from the tension between poles.
Yes, Heraclitus said, struggle is the mother of all things. The dynamic tension, the dialectic between opposites, is what drives growth, change, evolution.
So true wisdom isn't about eliminating the negative pole, but learning to integrate both. Yeah. Finding the value in the darkness as well as the light.
That's the real inner alchemy, seeing the lesson in the difficulty, the opportunity in the challenge. When you can do that, adversity becomes fuel. You realize you are not just the poles you experience, you are the consciousness observing the polarity, the one who can choose where to place your focus and energy.
Which shapes your reality.
Fundamentally.
So looking at your life, which pole are you feeding today? Fear or love? Scarcity or abundance?
That's the question to ask.
Moving on to the fifth principle, rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. This feels connected to polarity, but focuses on the flow.
Exactly. If polarity is the two ends of the spectrum, rhythm is the inevitable movement back and forth between them. Imagine the universe as this constant dance, an eternal ebb and flow.
Like breathing.
Precisely. It's often called the breath of God, the cosmic inhale and exhale. This law says everything follows cycles. Action leads to reaction, advance leads to retreat, rising leads to sinking. It applies to everything: stars, planets, people, minds, energy, matter.
What goes up must come down.
That's a simple expression of it. What is born will eventually dissolve. It's the universal pulse.
And this governs our lives very directly, too.
Absolutely. Our days cycle between light and dark. Our energy levels rise and fall. Our moods shift between joy and sadness. Our breath goes in and out. Nothing stays the same. The universe is always seeking balance through these oscillations.
Even huge cosmic events follow this.
Yes, galaxies spin, stars go through life cycles of birth and death, planets orbit, seasons change. It's all rhythm on different scales.
So change isn't something to fight, it's just the nature of things.
Exactly. It's the dance of life. And the rhythm is inside us too, our heartbeat, blood flow, breathing. Think of ocean tides pulled by the moon, advancing and retreating. Rivers flow. Trees grow cyclically. It suggests a deep order beneath apparent randomness. Sometimes chaos is just a rhythm we don't perceive yet.
So our energy, our moods, our creativity, they naturally have highs and lows. We can't be on all the time.
No, and trying to be is fighting the natural rhythm. Some days you feel full of energy, ready to conquer the world. Other days you need quiet and rest. Resisting that flow is like trying to swim against a strong current, exhausting and futile.
So the secret is observation without getting swept away.
Yes. Observe the rhythm without strong attachment. When you feel joyful, savor it. But know the pendulum will swing. When you face challenges or sadness, acknowledge it, but remember the tide always turns. Rumi's wisdom. This too shall pass.
You mentioned the invisible pendulum of emotions.
Yeah.
How do we navigate that without getting tossed around?
Most people resist. They cling hard to happiness, or they fight fiercely against sadness. But the pendulum has to swing. The harder you pull it to one side, the more momentum it builds to swing back to the other.
So fighting sadness makes it stronger.
It can, or it prolongs its stay. The Hermetic master aims for neutrality. They stand at the center point of the pendulum's swing. They observe the emotion rising and falling, like watching clouds pass, without getting carried away by it.
Just watch it, don't fight it.
Exactly. Acknowledge the feeling, allow it to be there, knowing it's part of the rhythm. This understanding itself brings a huge amount of freedom.
And the law of compensation fits into this rhythm.
Yes, it's how the universe maintains balance through rhythm. The Kabbalion says, the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates.
Equal and opposite reaction, like Newton.
Similar idea, applied more broadly. The pendulum swings equally far in both directions. Tides rise and fall with roughly equal force over time. This applies to our mental and emotional states too.
How so?
Intense periods of pleasure might be subtly compensated by periods of unease or subtle suffering later, and vice versa. Deep suffering often contains the seeds of future joy or growth. It suggests hardship isn't a punishment, but part of the cycle, and compensation will come, maybe in a different form or time.
So everything kind of balances out.
Yep.
What we gain in one area, we might pay for in another.
That's the implication. Material wealth might come with, say, increased stress or less simple enjoyment. Someone with less wealth might find great joy in family or nature. The law works tirelessly to restore equilibrium, always pulling the pendulum back towards the center over the long run.
How do we master this law then? How do we dance with the rhythm instead of being thrown by it?
First, awareness. Observe the cycles in your own life: energy, mood, focus. Second, anticipation. Know that expansion is followed by contraction, highs by lows. Prepare mentally.
So don't get too attached to the highs or too despairing in the lows.
Exactly. Practice gratitude in good times, but stay grounded. In tough times, remind yourself it's temporary. Third, use your breath. Conscious breathing is a powerful anchor to stabilize yourself during strong emotional swings.
And meditation helps connect to the deeper rhythm.
Yes, silence and meditation help you tune into that underlying universal pulse beneath the surface fluctuations. But above all, practice acceptance. Don't fight the waves. Learn to surf them.
The rhythm is constant. How you dance is your choice.
Well said.
Okay, principle 6, cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to the law. Chance is but a name for the law and not recognized. This sounds like it leaves no room for randomness.
That's the core idea. Imagine existence as this incredibly intricate tapestry. Every thread, every event, thought, action is woven in according to a precise design. Nothing is arbitrary.
So even things that seem like accidents or luck aren't.
According to this law, no. What we call chance or luck is simply our inability to perceive the complex chain of causes that led to that effect. Behind apparent chaos, there's a perfect underlying order. Every success, every challenge is in effect rooted in previous causes.
Like your earlier example of the dice roll. It seems random, but it's determined by physics.
Exactly. How it's held, thrown, the surface, air resistance, countless tiny causes determine the outcome. Same with the storm, it follows meteorological laws. In our lives, success isn't luck, it's the effect of causes like hard work, smart choices, focused intention. Failure often stems from different causes.
And this isn't just about physical cause and effect, like billiard balls hitting each other.
No, it operates across all planes simultaneously: mental, emotional, astral, and physical. Newton's third law, action-reaction, is the physical manifestation. But Hermetics knew this applied mentally and spiritually too.
Quantum physics hints at this too, right? With things like entanglement.
It does seem to suggest causality might be more complex than simple linear chains. Entanglement, where particles remain connected and influence each other instantly over distance, hints at deeper levels of connection, maybe causes operating outside our normal space-time. Hermetics would say, yes, we knew that.
And these deeper causes often start on the mental plane.
That's a key Hermetic teaching. Franz Bardon said true creation starts on the higher planes. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your intentions are primary causes.
So a persistent thought of fear could literally cause physical illness.
Over time, yes. The mental cause creates emotional and energetic effects, which can then manifest physically. Conversely, thoughts of love, gratitude, health can create positive effects, fostering well-being. The mind is the primary cause.
How does this relate to karma? Is it the same thing?
It's very closely related. Karma, meaning action in Sanskrit, is essentially the law of cause and effect applied to our actions, thoughts, and intentions, particularly on a moral or spiritual level. Every cause we initiate creates an effect that eventually returns to us.
And intention matters.
Hugely. It's not just what you do, but the energy and intention behind it. Helping someone out of ego creates a different karmic effect than helping out of genuine compassion.
So karma isn't about reward and punishment from some cosmic judge.
No, not in the Hermetic or many Eastern views. It's seen more as a universal learning mechanism, a feedback system. It brings back to you the lessons you need to learn based on the causes you've set in motion.
To help us grow and align with universal law.
Exactly. It's pedagogical, not punitive. It gives you opportunities to understand the consequences of your actions and make different choices. And while physical effects can be immediate, karmic effects can play out over longer cycles, even lifetimes according to some traditions, creating patterns or karmic cycles until the lesson is learned.
So ultimately, this law exists to empower us, to liberate us.
Precisely. Once you grasp it, You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance or bad luck. You realize you are the primary cause in your life.
And the first step is taking responsibility.
Full responsibility. Stop blaming external factors, people, situations, the world. Look within. What causes am I creating with my thoughts, beliefs, actions?
Our mind is like a garden, and thoughts are the seeds.
Beautiful analogy. So seeds of fear, doubt, resentment, and you'll harvest weeds and bitter fruit. So seeds of courage, love, gratitude, discipline, and you'll harvest harmony, abundance, joy.
Master the mind, master the cause, master the effect.
That's the path. Even masters can't erase past causes, but they learn to accept the effects gracefully as lessons and focus on creating positive causes now. Like the Buddha said, what you are today is the result of your thoughts of yesterday. What you will be tomorrow is the result of your thoughts today.
The master sees effects simply as reflections.
Reflections of their own inner world, their own actions and intentions. They understand life happens through them, not to them. Freedom comes from aligning with the law, consciously choosing your causes.
A powerful reminder. What seeds are you planting right now? Are they creating the reality you truly desire?
That's the work.
Finally, the seventh principle, gender. Gender isn't everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes.
This isn't just about male and female bodies, is it?
Not at all. It's much broader, referring to universal archetypal energies or principles that permeate all of creation.
Okay, so what's the masculine principle?
Think of it as the active, projective, expansive force. It's the spark, the initiating will, the impulse to act, to direct energy outwards. Like a focused beam of light or a sword cutting through things, it embodies logic, structure, direction, discernment, often associated with the left brain. Archetypes like the king, the warrior, the magician embody aspects of this.
And the feminine principle. The feminine is receptive, nurturing, generative. It's the fertile ground that receives the spark, the space within which creation happens. It's intuition, feeling, connection, compassion, patience, creativity, flow. Think of the moon, the earth, the ocean, associated with the right brain. Archetypes include the mother, the maiden, the wise woman, or crone witch, the queen.
And these aren't opposing, but complementary, like polarity.
Exactly. They're two halves of a whole, constantly interacting to create everything. And crucially, both principles exist within every person, regardless of their biological sex. We all contain both masculine and feminine energies.
What happens when these energies get out of balance within us, or even in society?
Good question. If the masculine energy is excessive, unbalanced, it can show up as aggression, domination, rigid thinking, being overly controlling, logic that completely dismisses feeling.
And if it's deficient?
Then you might see passivity, lack of direction, procrastination, inability to take action, lack of boundaries, feeling insecure or ineffective. And for the feminine, if it's in excess, it might look like being overwhelmed by emotions, having weak boundaries, excessive self-sacrifice, feeling like a victim, being unable to act decisively.
And the deficient feminine?
That could manifest as being cut off from intuition and feelings, emotional rigidity, difficulty connecting with others, lack of creativity, sort of inner barrenness, lack of empathy.
How do we see these principles playing out in nature, beyond people?
Well, the most obvious is reproduction. Pollen, projective masculine, fertilizes the ovule, receptive feminine, in plants. Male animals often display active masculine, while females choose or receive receptive feminine. But even beyond that, think of the sun radiating energy masculine and the earth receiving energy nurturing life feminine. The masculine provides the impulse or pattern, the feminine gives it form and substance. Neither can create alone.
Like the yin-yang symbol, containing both.
Exactly, a perfect representation. Each contains the seed of the other, flowing dynamically.
So the goal is an inner alchemical marriage, balancing these energies within ourselves.
That's the term often used, yes. It's about consciously integrating and harmonizing your own inner masculine and feminine qualities. Fusing your ability to act, think logically, and set direction, masculine, with your ability to feel, intuit, nurture, and create, feminine. This inner balance is seen as key to becoming a whole, actualized human being.
What are some practical ways to cultivate this balance?
There are many. Things like dance or movement practices, allowing free-flowing movement, feminine, combined with structured steps or rhythms, masculine.
It's interesting. What else?
Actively cultivate both intuition and action. Maybe spend time in quiet reflection, listening inwardly, feminine, before you make structured plans and take decisive steps, masculine. Or working consciously with archetypes, intentionally embodying the focused warrior when needed, and the compassionate mother at other times.
And this balance applies everywhere. Work, relationships, spirituality.
Absolutely. At work, use masculine energy for goal setting and organization, feminine for collaboration and creative brainstorming. In relationships, masculine for providing stability and direction, feminine for nurturing connection and empathy, recognizing both partners express both. Spiritually, maybe masculine discipline in practice, feminine surrender in receiving insight.
So true union, true wholeness, starts within, recognizing both energies reside in us.
That's the realization. We contain the universe's creative polarity within our own soul.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot. We've journeyed through the 7 Hermetic principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
It's quite a framework, and they're not just intellectual ideas, are they? They're presented as practical tools, ways to understand the interconnectedness of everything and achieve harmony by living in alignment with these universal truths.
Absolutely. And now, as always, the real deep dive begins within you, the listener. These principles aren't just words on a page or sound in your ears.
They need to be lived, felt, experienced.
Right. It's about applying them day by day, harmonizing your mind, balancing your emotions, aligning your actions with these cosmic rhythms and laws.
As the source material reminds us, the master key is now in your hands, awaiting the moment your consciousness decides to use it.
The power is there. May the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus guide you, and may you indeed become the conscious master of your own reality. Maybe the next deep dive is simply observing how these principles play out in your own life today.